Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. The Warriors will sign new players to the roster, executive Mike Duonlevy Jr. confirmed. The Warriors intend to sign 3 players once the Jonathan Kuminga situation is resolved. Warriors stall signings as Jonathan Kuminga's future remains unresolved. The Golden State Warriors appear to be gearing up for a critical offseason reshuffle, and reports now suggest that the front office has already made some quiet but pivotal moves. According to NBA insider Jake Weinbach, the Warriors have secured verbal commitments from 3 impactful free agents, Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, and Gary Payton II. However, these deals remain in limbo as the team's salary cap situation is directly tied to the unresolved status of Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors are navigating delicate financial terrain, particularly with the NBA's strict luxury tax thresholds and the recently implemented second apron regulations. These rules drastically limit roster-building options for high-spending teams, and Golden State must be careful about triggering hard cap restrictions. That's why, despite the reported verbal agreements, none of these signings will be made official until the Kuminga situation is clarified. Kuminga has become the center of Golden State's offseason drama. Once seen as a foundational piece for the post-Steph era, he now finds himself at the heart of multiple trade rumors. The Sacramento Kings reportedly offered a package including Malik Monk and a protected first-round pick, along with a $63 million extension for Kuminga. The Suns, meanwhile, have also made an aggressive push to acquire the 21-year-old forward, and recent reports suggest that Kuminga is open to landing in either Sacramento or Phoenix. However, in a sudden change of heart, the Warriors have reportedly shut down sign-and-trade discussions involving Kuminga. Despite the rejection of a contract offer and the growing interest from rival teams, Golden State now seems intent on working toward a long-term solution that keeps Kuminga in the Bay Area. If that reconciliation proves successful, the Warriors may need to make additional financial moves to fit Horford, Melton, and Payton II under the hard cap. Each of the 3 reported signings addresses a different need. Al Horford, despite his age, remains one of the smartest and most versatile big men in the game, offering floor spacing, leadership, and high IQ defense. DeAnthony Melton brings elite perimeter defense and shooting, 2 skills that the Warriors have lacked off the bench in recent seasons. And Gary Payton II, a familiar face and a fan favorite, provides defensive energy and transition speed, potentially reviving the identity that helped them win the 2022 championship. Still, all these acquisitions hinge on how the Kuminga saga ends. If the Warriors keep him, they'll need to get creative with salary cap maneuvering. If they move him, they'll gain flexibility but risk losing a budding star who just averaged 16.1 points and 5.2 rebounds per game last season. Golden State is clearly trying to walk the tightrope between chasing one last title with its aging core and preparing for a younger, more sustainable future. Whether they can pull it off depends on how they resolve the Kuminga dilemma, and how fast they can make these verbal agreements official. Golden State Warriors could miss out on All-NBA player in lose-lose situation with Jonathan Kuminga. The Golden State Warriors are in a lose-lose situation in their Jonathan Kuminga contract situation, which could see them miss out on an All-NBA player, said a former NBA general manager. Kuminga and the Warriors have been unable to reach a deal this offseason, which has halted Golden State's offseason plans. They remain the only team in the league to have not signed or re-signed a player, even though Al Horford has reportedly been waiting to join them. Kuminga is a restricted free agent. However, it is difficult for him to sign elsewhere because of a lack of cap space across the league. He doesn't seem to want to be with Golden State any longer, saying the team stunted his growth. The saga has put Golden State in a lose-lose situation, said a former GM. Golden State cannot win in the Jonathan Kuminga saga, says Bobby Marks. Kuminga turned down a 2-year, $45 million offer, and appears to want to explore his market next summer. That's trouble for Golden State. They need Kuminga on a higher salary if they want to trade him for a star. Instead, he's likely to sign a 1-year, $7.9 million qualifying offer for next season. Former NBA general manager and ESPN insider Bobby Marks explained why that's bad for the Warriors. Marks said, "It's probably more of a lose-lose for Golden State. I'm not saying Golden State should panic and suddenly offer 3 for $80 million. How I look at it for Golden State is that Jonathan Kuminga is now on a 1-year $8 million deal. Not having Kuminga signed to a larger contract hamstrings the Warriors' ability to go after superstars, should a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo ask out of Milwaukee." Marks continued, "Trading Jonathan Kuminga at a $22 million salary is a lot easier than trading Jonathan Kuminga at an $8 million salary, if you want to go hunting for a big name. What if an All-NBA player becomes available? You do not have the contracts unless you're trading Draymond Green or Jimmy Butler. You would have Kuminga at $8 million, Moses Moody at $11 million, Buddy Hield at $8 or $9 million. You don't have the numbers to stack, which is why getting Kuminga on a 2-year deal for $45 million is a perfect solution for Golden State, but it takes two to tango, and requires Kuminga to sign at that number. Jonathan Kuminga is betting on himself, looks to explore 2026 free agency. With his recent Instagram post, Jonathan Kuminga is betting on himself. He said that he'll bet on myself all day. That would mean exploring free agency in 2026 after he signs the qualifying offer for this season. It's a financial risk for Kuminga. He'd be hoping to receive a much higher offer than the 2-year $45 million from the Warriors. A better offer is reportedly out there from the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns, who are willing to give up $90 million over 4 years. A lot can change in a year, however. Kuminga was played sparingly by head coach Steve Kerr last season. But he performed well in the second round of the playoffs after Steph Curry's injury. He could continue on his upward trajectory from the end of the playoffs, but is it likely? This summer has only hurt Kuminga's relationship with the team, so it's hardly more likely that he'll get minutes than he did at the end of last season. Would the Suns and Kings still be willing to give up a large sum for the young Warrior after another season of limited minutes? Either way, it looks like Kuminga is willing to roll the dice for a chance to leave Golden State. Jonathan Kuminga's remaining suitor could grant the Warriors an excellent return. This could be the best-case scenario, August 2, 2025. As the Golden State Warriors' offseason has worn on, all eyes have been on the lingering Jonathan Kuminga saga, with much speculation surrounding whether or not he will return to the team. While his return on a short-term, tradable deal remains the most likely scenario, a sign-and-trade with the Sacramento Kings could yield excellent results, and it is an option the Warriors should continue to pursue. Although the market has cooled around Kuminga and all restricted free agents this offseason, Golden State could still have the opportunity to bring back value in exchange for their most prized asset. The Sacramento Kings could provide a worthwhile return for Kuminga. As Kuminga entered restricted free agency, many around the league thought there would be major interest in a sign-and-trade for the dynamic young forward. Unfortunately, as a result of the financial restrictions surrounding the new CBA, almost all restricted free agents have encountered a limited market this offseason, and Kuminga and the organization's options have been limited as a result. Nevertheless, numerous suitors, including the Kings, Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat, New Orleans Pelicans and Phoenix Suns, have surfaced so far. Yet, as a result of either other financial obligations or the Warriors' asking price of a young player and a first-round pick, many of these suitors have dropped out of the conversation entirely. While the Suns reportedly remain interested, their lack of a tradable first-round pick effectively eliminates them from any sign-and-trade talks for the moment. Therefore, the Kings, who have a plethora of young players and draft capital, remain the only viable suitor for Kuminga. While Golden State was not impressed with their initial offer of Devin Carter, Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks, a change in either organization's mindset could lead to a favorable return. So far, Sacramento has inexplicably kept young guard Keon Ellis out of trade discussions while simultaneously bringing in various guards, including Dennis Schroeder, to eat up minutes in the backcourt. Devin Carter, moreover, has proved to be a dynamic and intense young player with defensive upside. Simultaneously, were the Kings to make either of their recent draft picks, Nick Clifford and Maxime Reynaud, available, both could be solid additions to Golden State's crop of young players. Clifford, a 6 feet 5 inches wing, dominated Summer League and looks to be ready right away for an NBA rotation. Reynaud, meanwhile, is a 7 feet 1 inch center who could certainly compete with Quinton Post for minutes and has shown excellent rebounding skills in college. Therefore, although all of these players do not look likely to be traded at the moment, the Warriors may be able to convince the Kings to part with one in order to add a relatively proven young talent in Kuminga. Warriors have made their stance on Gary Payton too crystal clear. There are better options. As the Golden State Warriors have sat stagnant this offseason, the unfortunate reality has been that two fan-favorite veterans, Kevin Looney and Gary Payton II, will not return to the team. While Looney has signed with the New Orleans Pelicans, Payton remains a free agent, and, by courting other veteran guards, the Warriors have shown that they believe there to be better options on the market than Payton. Although Payton was undeniably a winning player through his 2 stints with Golden State, the team must now cut costs wherever it can in order to build depth around their veteran core, and Payton is unfortunately a casualty of this reality. Gary Payton II is not the best option on the market for the Warriors. Payton, last season, was an integral piece of one of the best defensive fronts in the league. Through 62 games with the Warriors, he averaged 6.5 points, 3 rebounds, and 1.3 assists in just 15 minutes per game. Yet, as free agency approached, Golden State knew they needed to add a more dependable ball handler and shooter in their backcourt in order to offset some of the inconsistencies presented by Brandon Podziemski and Buddy Hield. While Payton has a somewhat viable perimeter shot and is extremely capable of making winning plays, the Warriors have gravitated so far this offseason to options such as DeAnthony Melton and Seth Curry, both of whom would likely come in on deals similar to what Payton will sign. Last season, Payton earned roughly $8 million with Golden State, and, although there has surprisingly been little interest on the market for him, he will likely land somewhere on a veteran minimum contract before the end of the offseason. Although Melton could receive a mid-level exception somewhere, it is likely that him or Curry would cost around the same as Payton, if not a little less. Therefore, the Warriors have made their stance on Payton crystal clear by allowing him to walk in free agency, thereby signaling that, in addition to their cost-cutting efforts, the team wishes to bring in a different skill set in their backcourt. In his last full season, Melton averaged 10.1 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 2.6 assists, proving that he can be a more reliable offensive contributor if his injury history does not prove insurmountable. Curry, moreover, has been a reliable presence in the NBA for over a decade and, in addition to posting similar stats to Payton last season, shot an absurd 45.6% from three-point range on a healthy 2.7 attempts per game. Therefore, although it will be sad to see Payton go, Golden State has made clear that they need more offensive upside in their backcourt, guaranteeing Payton's departure.